Streaming live now on News8000.com. You're watching WKBT La Crosse. This is News 8 Now, this weekend.
Good evening and thank you for watching News 8 Now this weekend. I'm Allison Fergit. Sounds like we have some storms on the way, so we'll send it over to Nicole right away for our forecast.
Yeah, we do have some storms on the way. Right now we're only seeing rain out there, but there are some thunderstorms that will eventually be moving into the area tonight. Taking a live look at radar the last 3 hours, we've had some light drizzle across the area, just those scattered showers for the most part. Seeing some more steady rain now falling just north of Winona and going into Eau Claire again, just on and off showers. Nothing too heavy, just those light sprinkles, but we do have some thunderstorms starting to pop up now as we look into northern Iowa that will eventually be making their way into our area over the next few hours. It will take a little bit. Here we are on Sky Tracker seeing around 10 p.m. we can start to see that line of thunderstorms making it to about Rochester, getting to Eau Claire and La Crosse possibly after midnight. Just a very low severe risk with these thunderstorms. We're seeing about a chance for some small hail, then maybe a localized wind gust or two. After that, it'll quickly move out of the area, but we're not going to be out of the woods yet. We have plenty of rain and snow and even the possibility of some ice coming up in the forecast, so I'll break it all down.
It's that end of March weather. That's always...
Yeah, it's going out like a lion.
Yeah, for sure. All right, thank you, Nicole. A woman is dead following a crash this morning in Dunn County. Authorities say a 911 call came in around 7:15 a.m. reporting a woman found in a ditch on County Highway Y in the town of Dunn. First responders arrived to find the woman with fatal injuries. A 17-year-old female driver was arrested at the scene for OWI and a hit and run causing death. The crash is still under investigation. An investigation is underway today after a small plane crashed into a suburb north of Minneapolis. The plane crashed in a Brooklyn Park neighborhood. The Federal Aviation Administration released a statement saying the plane left an airport in Des Moines, Iowa, and was heading to an airport in Minneapolis when it crashed. No word yet on whether anyone was hurt on the plane or on the ground.
In my room, I had this sound and my whole house was shaking. I was afraid, is my house going down or what? Then, lo and behold, my kids said, oh, there's a plane crash. And then we look at the window, there's smoke, dark smoke everywhere. So we have to just walk away from the house because we don't know what's going on.
The FAA and the National Transportation Safety Board are investigating. The University of Minnesota says a graduate student was detained by U.S. Immigration and Custom Enforcement officials this week. In a statement, the university says the student was detained Thursday at an off-campus residence. The school says it's working to gather more information, but says it had no prior knowledge about the incident. The school also says it did not share any information with federal officials. The student's nationality was not mentioned in the statement.
That to me was the lack of information. We don't know. We don't know where the student is. We don't know the student's name. We just don't know what happened. And the only way we found out was not from the federal government.
An immigration attorney representing the student says they will not be making any comments due to, quote, concerns that the student may be moved out of state in retribution. A Wisconsin judge is allowing Elon Musk's plan to give $1 million to 2 voters ahead of the state Supreme Court election. The state attorney general argued the payments violate state law, calling it a felony to offer voters anything of value for their vote, and immediately appealed the decision. Musk, who is backing Waukesha County Judge Brad Schimmel, is planning a Sunday rally where he'll give $1 million to 2 voters for signing an online petition against, quote, activist judges. Musk initially posted on social media that he'd personally hand over $2 million, but the post was later deleted. Well, biking for a good cause. Today was the La Crosse YMCA's 3rd annual Pedal for a Purpose. The event is a fundraising effort to support the Y's cancer survivorship programs. The programs provide strength and hope to cancer survivors through fitness and wellness resources. Today's Pedal for a Purpose participants gathered into teams of 5 and rode together for 1 hour to support cancer survivors.
I think it's awesome to see all of the community members come together and raise money for such a great cause, but also the community that we have. Everyone comes out, they're active, supporting each other, so much excitement and cheering going on. So it's a great atmosphere here.
Both the Dahl and Hauser YMCA locations hosted Pedal for a Purpose, and Y officials say they met their $40,000 fundraising goal. Today is National Vietnam War Veterans Day. To commemorate the day, the La Crosse County Council of the American Legion hosted a Vietnam Veterans Welcome Home event at the Onalaska American Legion. The event looks to honor the service of local Vietnam-era veterans and acknowledge their sacrifices. The Legion set up a line of families, friends, and flags to welcome the Vietnam vets. The Legion's leaders say it's a way to give them their long overdue recognition.
The perils that they faced and the environment they faced was challenging enough to not have to come back to political discourse in the country, and to hold on to those wounds for so long. It's in some small way righting a wrong.
The program featured keynote speakers who reflected on the service of Vietnam veterans. The veterans also had an opportunity to connect with others and share their experiences. Today, Place for Angels hosted its second annual scavenger hunt in Chaseburg. The event serves as a fundraiser to support the construction of a garden memorial dedicated to children who have died. The co-chair says events like this are a way for people to connect.
My favorite part of the scavenger hunt is just seeing people come together and seeing people, the fellowship, and just letting people be together and talk.
By the end of April, organizers hope to unveil the centerpiece of the memorial, an angel holding hands with a young boy and girl. Still to come, Vice President J.D. Vance's trip to Greenland sparks backlash from foreign leaders. This as the Trump administration pushes for control over the Arctic island.
Wisconsin, one of those places where families spend their winters among our frozen lakes and snow-covered hills. With all the fun we're having, it's easy to take for granted how we warm up, by the fire or simply adjusting our thermostat. But what if you couldn't warm up so easily? It might be simple to imagine for 60 seconds, but for many, it's a reality they can't ignore. Working families, elderly, disabled, and veterans struggling to keep their heat and power on in the dangerous cold of winter. Freezing temperatures aren't just uncomfortable for them, they can be deadly. Make a real difference by providing a hand up for a neighbor in need. No matter the amount, every dollar helps. No one deserves to suffer when we can help each other.
Brittany Kinzer's cost-cutting policy to hire unlicensed teachers led to tragedy.
The kindergarten teacher has been arrested and charged with sexually assaulting one of his students.
This all happened inside of a classroom.
This criminal had no teaching license and had just been convicted of a gun crime.
They admitted Anderson shouldn't have been hired in the first place.
But Brittany Kinzer's long-standing policies put this kindergarten predator in the classroom. Don't let her run our schools.
If your home is looking drab, trade it in. Trade it in. The furniture's old and yucky, trade it in. Trade it in. If you're seeking a solution, then King's your resolution. If you're tired of your look, then trade it in. Trade it in.
At King's Trade-In Sale, trade in your old recliner for $50 towards a new one. Trade in your old sofa for $100. Trade in your old mattress for $75. Plus, get free delivery and 12 months no-interest payments at the King Furniture Trade-In Sale.
The news continues on News 8 Now. Expect more.
Vice President J.D. Vance's trip to Greenland is causing international turmoil. The Trump administration has repeatedly expressed interest in taking over the Arctic island. The trip was originally supposed to be just the second lady, but at the last minute, the vice president decided to go too. Jen Sullivan reports on the controversy surrounding the trip and why the Trump administration is so interested in the Arctic island.
Vice President J.D. Vance's trip to Greenland getting backlash from foreign leaders as the Trump administration pushes for control over the Arctic island.
We need Greenland, very importantly, for international security. We have to have Greenland.
Greenland is a territory of Denmark. It was a Danish colony up until 1953, when it was redefined as a district of Denmark. The island became self-governed in 2009. The U.S. has had a military presence in Greenland since World War II. And in 1951, they built what is now known as Bidufik Space Base as part of a defense agreement with Denmark. It's situated between North America and northern Russia, making it vital to U.S. military defense. Speaking in front of U.S. troops Friday, Vance relayed why the U.S. is so interested in Greenland.
We know that Russia and China and other nations are taking an extraordinary interest in Arctic passageways and Arctic naval routes.
The Trump administration's comments had outraged leaders in both Greenland.
That is negative rhetoric, and that hasn't helped, especially our party's work for independence.
And leaders in Denmark.
It's tearing apart what has been a very good transatlantic bond between Denmark and the U.S. for 80 years.
A poll earlier this year asked Greenlanders whether they should become part of the United States. 85% said no. I'm Jen Sullivan reporting.
The State Department has ordered social media screenings for certain student visa applicants. According to a memo, all U.S. embassies and consulates should look for social media activity that would make a candidate ineligible for a visa. This directive comes amid fierce criticism from immigration and human rights advocates over the Trump administration's detention of some visa holders who have not been charged with a crime. A federal judge said he would issue a temporary restraining order against further efforts to kill Voice of America. That comes 2 weeks after President Donald Trump ordered its parent, the Agency for Global Media, to cut as many jobs as it could. VOA head Carrie Lake put every worker on administrative leave, and the radio network went silent. She also pulled funding from other U.S.-backed broadcasters in other countries. Radio Free Europe sued, and a judge granted it a temporary restraining order. The Agency for Global Media said it would restore some funding to it. Radio Free Asia filed its own suit Thursday. Coming up, U.S. homeowners are staying put longer than ever. Why people are moving less after this.
And we have that chance of thunderstorms tonight, but after that, winter weather is back. I'll have a full look at it and what that means for the rest of your weekend coming up right after the break.
Hip, knee, or back pain? See if Arch Supports can help you at the Good Feet store.
We all have a friend who loves the McDonald's hot, crispy Filet-O-Fish. My friend, you could be that friend.
Hurry in and get 2 Filet-O-Fish sandwiches for just $6.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
A criminal illegal gang member abused a child here in Wisconsin. Now, President Trump's fighting back. But a liberal judge ordered deportation flights to be turned around. We don't need another liberal judge. We need Brad Schimmel, a judge and prosecutor backed by law enforcement. Schimmel protected victims and safeguarded kids. Tough on crime, unwavering in justice. Vote Brad Schimmel on April 1st. Fair Courts America is responsible for the content of this advertising.
It's time to gear up for the season at Blaine's Farm and Fleet, your spring weather headquarters. Rain or shine, we've got the value you need to get your spring projects underway. Right now, get up to $20 off Scott's Turf Builder Crabgrass Preventer or Triple Action. New at Blaine's, shop these men's Ariat waterproof steel toe work boots. Plus, all Trico wiper blades are buy one, get one half price. In-store or online, find the value you need to do things your way. Blaine's Farm and Fleet. Be an original.
Wherever you are in Wisconsin, there's a free and confidential Aging and Disability Resource Center, ADRC, or Tribal Partner Agency. We're here for older adults, adults with disabilities, and your families. ADRCs are a bridge to support for benefits and financial assistance, transportation, in-home care, and more. Get to know your local ADRC and connect with resources now. Call toll-free 1-844-WIS-ADRC or go to findmyadrc.org.
25 years as a frontline prosecutor. I go to work and see some of the worst things people do to each other. Children who are survivors of sexual abuse. I can't imagine a circumstance in life more difficult. So I got the calls at 3 o'clock in the morning and I went out to the scenes and we made sure we put that case together. We could bring justice for them. When you walk out of the courtroom after a guilty verdict, they had the community say, "We believe you and you deserve justice." There was no better feeling.
Get up to an extra 10% off sale prices during the Home Furniture 4-Day sale.
You're watching News 8 Now. Expect more.
People in the U.S. are moving a lot less frequently than they used to. According to Redfin, the average homeowner stays in the same home for 11.8 years. In 2005, it was just 6.5 years, but that number can vary significantly. The reasons why are pretty simple. Homeowners with low interest mortgages don't want to take on new loans with higher rates to purchase another home. Well, today was somewhat of a rainy reality check after yesterday's high temps, and it sounds like we have some bigger storms on the way. Let's send it to Nicole for our weather.
Yes, we really are getting hit with a roller coaster of weather right now. A high of 86 in La Crosse yesterday, and now we're seeing the potential for winter weather, actually having winter weather advisories posted for some portions of the area. So a crazy swing, but that is spring weather, especially as we go throughout the rest of March. Here's that winter weather advisory issued for portions into central Wisconsin starting at 7 p.m. tonight, lasting through 7 p.m. tomorrow. That's going to be for a risk of ice and sleet accumulation as we go into the overnight period. So let's break it all down. There's that line of thunderstorms that could be passing through later this evening and into the overnight period. After that, we'll see a possibility of a brief break. But with that line, that's where the main risk for that sleet and that ice to mix in is. We could see some accumulation overnight, especially for areas just north of I-94 and well north of Rusk County. So definitely something to be aware of. Even if it's not going to be impacting much of our area, it is going to be impacting our neighbors to the north if you have any travel plans tomorrow. As we go throughout the rest of the morning, we'll just see on and off again light scattered showers throughout the morning hours until we get into the afternoon. That's when we'll start to see temperatures dropping a little bit, seeing some of that rain starting to transition to a wintry mix and eventually get into a full snow band as we go into tomorrow evening. It'll move out pretty quickly though, already out of the area by around 9 to 10 p.m. and then we should be clear for Monday with actually some clearing behind it and the potential for some sunshine to poke through to start the week off. So here's that ice tracker going into tonight. Again, as I said, most of the very heavy ice accumulation is staying well to our north, but there is starting to be some indication of some spreading down, especially closer to Black River Falls. It's going to be tricky for that ice to accumulate on roadways because it has been so warm out there that the surfaces are going to have to fight to really have that ice not melt. But this could accumulate on tree branches, buildings, and vehicles and make for some messy situations. This will be happening tonight, and then tomorrow that's when our snow starts to come in the evening time. Looking at anywhere from a trace to possibly 1 to 2 inches. These 2 to 4 inches I think are pushing it a little bit. We're likely to be on the lower end of that, not really looking to see anywhere more than 3 inches in some isolated areas, but it likely won't last long because we do have some warmer temperatures on the way. Here's a look at our rain going in through the next 2 days as well, seeing anywhere from about 1 inch to possibly 1.5 inches in some higher locations, and then we'll get a brief break on Monday, but we're going to have even more winter coming back as we go into Tuesday, seeing snow moving in Tuesday evening. After that, seeing mostly rain happening throughout the day Wednesday. So another strong system passing through that could be giving significant snow amounts, but hopefully some of that rain that comes towards the end could wash some of it away. The good news is by Sunday night we'll have that dryness starting to come in. We'll have a dry day Monday with the sun poking through as well. It won't be as warm out there, but staying just below normal. And then Tuesday and Wednesday getting a little bit messy again, a little bit windy, but after that it'll actually be a dry second half of the forecast.
Thank goodness,
so
thank goodness.
A little bit of a break to start April off, yeah.
Yeah, it's always so funny because I remember last year covering the election then, we just had this out of nowhere because it was a pretty dry and not very exciting winter. All of a sudden we got this awful snowstorm and it seems like we're gonna have that again this Tuesday. We just can't.
Yeah, we have to finish it with a bang, like a lion.
Yeah, and I thought we maybe entered March with enough precipitation for it to be a lion, but I guess not. Or I guess
it's a lion the entire month, it looks like.
Oh, yeah. All right, well, thank you so much, Nicole. And coming up next in sports, the debut of the La Crosse Lightning. It's their first season as a WIAA team, and they were looking to pick up their first win. Cade has the highlights next.
Proper installation of your new windows make a difference. The team at Clear Choice Window and Home Solutions are factory trained to make sure your windows are installed to last. Call or stop into the showroom for your free estimate.
Brad Schimmel is lying about Susan Crawford's views on protecting kids, just like he lied about rape kits and let child molesters off easy, even blaming child victims. The truth, Susan Crawford is a former prosecutor, a common-sense judge, and a mom. And unlike Schimmel, she's always protected our kids. at school, and everywhere else.
I'm Judge Susan Crawford, and I'll always follow the law and use common sense to decide what's right and what's wrong.
Shop Wisconsin's best deals at Black River Furniture Outlet. Find unbeatable prices on sectionals, big or small, to fit every home. Great savings on Ashley sofas and love seats. Style and comfort at a price you'll love. Check out our wide selection of reclining and power furniture, plus custom options from Best Home Furnishings. Experience top-tier comfort with Catnapper Furniture, where relaxation is key. Black River Furniture Outlet, your upholstery headquarters. Family values, veteran-owned, and no corporate hassle. Open 7 days a week in Black River Falls, Wisconsin.
Now's the time for a great deal on a new Honda. It's time for a different kind of power. Whether you choose an electric Honda or a hybrid. From the Kelley Blue Book Best Overall EV and Hybrid brand. Right now, you can get a 3.49% APR on a 2025 CR-V Hybrid.
Voters deserve to know what our records are.
Susan Crawford's record? Disturbing and dangerous. A 7-year-old girl sexually assaulted. The attacker faced 100 years. Crawford let him off with only 4.
I don't regret that sentence.
A 5-year-old violated. The predator should have rotted in prison. He got out in just 2 years. She protected them, not us.
I don't regret that sentence. I am proud of the work that I've done.
Susan Crawford, putting criminals over your kids.
Covering all of the exciting action from your community. Here's News 8 Now Sports with Kate Overton.
Well, today is a special day as the La Crosse Lightning Co-op made their first ever debut for the WIAA lacrosse season. It's a co-op made of 7 different teams for a sport that's gained a lot of popularity over the years. And today they had a couple of games at GET High School to start the season. Let's go there. It was also Senior Day, recognizing over 10 athletes on their squad. Now the Lightning dropped game 1 of the day, but they were fired up for game 2 against Notre Dame Academy. First quarter, Grayson Vium dumps it off to Jax Hendrickson. He finds the net. Lightning take a 1-0 lead. Just a few minutes later, it's Vium taking it himself right past the goalie, make it 2-0. Still in the first, we've got Charlie Seehafer, the pass over to Hendrickson, who sends a rocket down low. Lightning go up 3. And then check out this sequence. First shot is deflected, but the rebound and pass over to Vium, fakes out the goalie and scores. The Bolts were rolling and Vium wanted more from 12 yards out. Makes it look easy. His 3rd goal of the quarter as the Lightning go on to win 11-9. In the MLB, the Brewers back in action for game 2 of the season today and tomorrow in New York and then in Milwaukee on Monday for the home opener. Let's go to the Bronx. Hall of Famer CC Sabathia throwing out the first pitch. We also had Nestor Cortez making his Brewer debut, and it was a rough one. First pitch of the game, and Paul Goldschmidt taking him deep. 1-0 Yankees. Next batter, very next pitch, and Cody Bellinger gets a hold of this one high and deep to right. Another home run. Make it 2-0 New York. Next batter, Aaron Judge up to bat. And that's 3 pitches, 3 home runs for the Yankees. Not the debut Cortez was looking for. Rough start. Brewers trying to get back into it. Runners at the corners. Christian Yelich hits a dribbler back to the pitcher, but a bad throw means Milwaukee pulls within 1. But that's as close as they would get as the Yankees offense was on fire this afternoon. Anthony Volpe with 2 men on. He goes down the line and left for a 3-run shot, make it 7-3. Then with the bases loaded in the 3rd inning, Aaron Judge delivers a grand slam. 9 home runs in total for the Yankees as they get the win 20-9. These 2 teams go again tomorrow. Then on Monday, the Brewers will make their home debut against the Kansas City Royals. You can watch that game right here on WKBT starting at 1 o'clock. We'll be right back.
Meeting you locally where you are online. Miss a story? See it again or watch us live on YouTube at WKBT News 8 Now.
How corrupt is Brad Schimmel? Let's count the ways. 1. Schimmel gave a plea deal to a man caught with child porn after the man's lawyer gave his campaign thousands of dollars. 2. Schimmel let 6,000 rape kits sit untested for years, then lied about it. 3. Schimmel took thousands in campaign contributions from opioid makers, then refused to go after them when opioid deaths spiked. That's Brad Schimmel, and he's way too corrupt for the Supreme Court.
When it's time to celebrate, Pizza Ranch is ready. We've got plenty of room and plenty of food for everyone. With pizza, desserts, and the country's best chicken, everyone leaves a winner. Make it a buffet day at Pizza Ranch.
If your home is looking drab, trade it in. Trade it in. The furniture's old and yucky, trade it in. Trade it in. If you're seeking a solution, then King's your resolution. If you're tired of your look, then trade it in. Trade it in.
At King's Trade-In Sale, trade in your old recliner for $50 towards a new one. Trade in your old sofa for $100. Trade in your old mattress for $75. Plus get free delivery and 12 months no interest payments at the King Furniture Trade-In Sale. Trade it in!
Every moment counts if you're at risk or living with lung cancer. And anyone with lungs can get lung cancer. It causes more cancer deaths than breast, colon, and prostate combined. It can feel like a race against time. And while there may be moments where you question your next step, it's essential to know that you don't have to confront lung cancer alone. Through it all, Go-To for Lung Cancer is here for you. From screening, treatment, and survivorship support to finding the right care close to home, we are your community. As your friends, your guides, your teachers, your advocates, and your support system, Go-To is your go-to. Confronting lung cancer starts here. Visit goto.org today.
We had a nice trip of fall summer yesterday. Here's a little fact. The previous all-time March high temperature was 84 degrees, and yesterday's high temperature in La Crosse was 86. So we smashed that record and that daily high, and that's the earliest we've ever seen a temperature that warm before within the entirety of the year. So a nice warm day, and now it's really not looking like that at all. Staying in the 40s, yeah.
We're not getting close to that 80s, it looks like, anytime soon.
No.
But you know what? 50s and 60s, they aren't terrible, especially when they're dry out. It's not
exactly. We can take what we can get.
Yeah, exactly. Well, thank you for joining us, and we'll see you at 10.